Hello,
Hello,
and welcome to
Finish Big.
Yes, we are listening our way through all of the Big Finish releases and ranges that have ever existed
That's right,
and continue to exist.
It is a huge sadness to me that I think we're coming near the end of our Judge Dredd journey, aren't we? Not quite there yet.
Well, we're doing 3 today.
Right.
We said we'd do 4 last time, but we're only doing 3 this time.
why we're
Sorry,
doing
guys.
3?
Because then there's another 3,
Yeah.
and that's the end of the 2000 AD sort of full cast, and then there's some Crime Chronicles a little bit later on. But then that's the end of the...
Crime Chronicles?
Yes.
What's it, like first-person narration?
Well, I don't know. I've
Companion
never heard
Chronicles?
them. I imagine like the Companion
God.
Chronicles, but crime?
Maybe it's the precursor to the Companion Chronicles. There was like, those Crime Chronicles work so well, we'll do those for Doctor Who
Oh,
companions.
what have we had? We've had Crime Chronicles, Companion Chronicles, Doctor Chronicles, and
Liberator
Liberator Chronicles.
yeah.
Oh, God.
I know, they was getting a bit desperate then, weren't they? Everyone was dying in the Blake 7 universe, so they had to do Liberator
So
Chronicles.
funny about the... We're not going to get to Blake 7 for a while, but it's so funny how the Blake 7 cast, 1, have aged the worst, and 2 have died off the worst. Compared to like Doctor Who,
What do you mean they've aged the
I
worst?
feel like they've done like drink and drugs and cigarettes. More, they like
what?
if you compare the Blake 7
You
cast...
mean they literally look like they've melted?
If you compare the Blake 7 cast to the Doctor Who cast of the same era,
Yeah.
the Blake 7 lot look rougher and have all died off quicker. I'm just saying.
Well, what could
There's no comparison there.
What could possibly have led to this grim conclusion?
Anyway,
A life of vice and crime. The Blake 7 cast. Well, we'll get to that later.
but
Well,
yes.
we're already in a life of crime and debauchery here in Judge Dredd world.
Yeah, so we're doing 3 more 2000 AD releases. And I'll tell you and everyone else what they are.
Oh, please do.
So
yes.
they are Jihad,
Ordain this.
war crimes,
We were at war. Get over it.
for king and country.
These people couldn't organize an explosion in a nuclear reactor.
Yes, so a mixed bunch again this time.
What do you mean a mixed bunch?
Well, they're all very different releases, these 3.
Very different. I think 2 of these were very strong, and the other one was good, but could have been better. So I still think this is a really solid batch.
Okay, well, should we just start talking about them then?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah?
Although I just would like to get one thing out of the way before we even start, and that is the extreme lack of Enigma Smith in these releases. And even more to our horror, in the last story, a new newsreader was in. This very
No, that's because it was in Brit City. They were in England, weren't they? Not in America.
Oh, okay.
But she hasn't been around. No, she was in the last release we did, actually. So she's
I'm
still
only
around. It's
hoping-
just because it was Brit City. They were doing like the BBC.
I'm hoping
We'll get
in the
to
last 3 there is one more Enigma Smith story where, like, you remember when she solved the plague in that one, where she gets to be the star of the show. Because let's face it, Judge Dredd, Enigma Smith is the star.
Okay, well, the first release then, Jihad, was released in March 2004. This one, and all of them, obviously star Toby Longworth as Judge Dredd.
Superb, although we'll get into that.
This one also features Teresa Gallagher. She's back as Chief Judge Hershey.
I want to talk about Teresa Gallagher in this.
And we've also got John Ainsworth, Nicholas Briggs, Ian Brooker featuring as well.
Yes, you'll hear a lot of Nicholas Briggs, Jeremy James and Ian Brooker throughout these 3 releases. I
didn't mention Jeremy James. I said John
Well,
Ainsworth.
You will hear Jeremy James a lot in these
Well, he's
3
not.
releases.
You won't, because he's not in this one. And this was written by James Swallow.
Oh. If there was ever a Judge Dredd writer named James Swallow, there you are.
And it was directed...
Swallow this, James.
It was directed by John Ainsworth.
Yes. Did he direct them all? I think he did.
pretty much.
Yeah. This is sort of his range, isn't it? He's sort of senior producer of it, creative controller, director, and in the last one, he acts as well.
Yeah. Well,
He's
he's
got his
acting in this one. I have said it like 3 times. You're not
grubby
listening.
little fingerprints all over this range, isn't he? I don't know what I said, grubby.
Okay.
I'm sure they're very well manicured fingertips.
Well, why don't you start us off? Because I don't have a lot to say about this one. I felt this like a very traditional, run-of-the-mill story.
Oh, you're mad! I've got a whole page of notes here to go through.
It wasn't your out-and-out comedy or anything. There wasn't much silliness in it.
I mean, there was a bit of silliness,
and there wasn't
in it.
much particular drama in it. I just felt it very flat and run-of-the-mill. So you have to prove me wrong here.
I think you're so wrong and then some, as usual. So this is basically, I think this is the perfect jumping on point to listen to Judge Dredd audios because it starts off as like a day in the life of Judge Dredd. It's all from his point of view, and they're doing the Global Justice Summit, which is like a dozen foreign chief judges all coming into the city to basically talk about the law. Okay, and poor Judge Dredd has been shacked up with this Australian judge. It might have been played by Nicholas Brick, because I'm not entirely sure. It was a really terrible accent. And for the first sort of third, I was going, oh boy, because they were doing, oh mate, you want to crack open a few tinnies? Come on there. We ain't got to do the case. We'll just kick back, put your feet up, Judge Dredd. I was like, we can't do this. Thank God that turned out to be a disguise. And he actually was, he was sort of undercover, wasn't he? To bring down the entire sort of plot that was going on. But like, how can you say this is a nothing episode? Because this literally explained all about the Judder, which is a big part of Judge Dredd chronology in,
I was going to say,
comics.
yes, I was going to say it brings out a lot of the comic stuff that's happened before. And we've not really, or we've had some of that, but this, I don't know, this just felt like you've had to have read a lot of the comics and knew a lot of the background.
I've not read any of the comics and I understood it.
Okay.
So do you remember who the Judder are?
No, tell us and everybody else.
So basically, there was this old judge called Judd. A bit confusing. And he wanted to create a religion, the Judder, and go out and police all the cities. And basically, it was a mixture of religion and law. So he wanted to create a church of the Judder and then send out all of these clones. And you basically either got into line and worshipped him, or you'd be murdered horribly. And what happened back in the day was Judge Dredd infiltrated the church, brought down Judd, and then the Judd are all dispersed. Well, what you got is one of his accolades. Who I thought gave a brilliant performance. I don't know who it was, but he gave a really terrific. Anyway, one of his accolades wants to sort of get the church going again, and so he's doing terror attacks all over and basically bringing the church back to life. I thought it was really great.
Maybe because it was like the culty stuff and it was just a bit... There just wasn't the humour for me, that's all. Even the stupid Australian accent, it wasn't really the humour.
Well, yeah, but
I like.
I'm going to get to that in the third one because I think you can push the humour too far in this thing.
Yeah.
And I think this is where you and me are going to disagree a bit because I actually really like the fact that this was mostly played straight. Not entirely, because there was still some... I mean, all the different judges. There was a Chinese judge.
It was great to have all the different...
There was an African judge. And they were all doing dreadfully
That's John Ainsworth and Nicholas Briggs most of the time.
Accents. It was really quite terrible. But you also learn as well about Judge Dredd's gene pool, how he came to be in the first place.
Yeah, I suppose there's
so
few
there
interesting
was all
things.
this backstory for Judge Dredd as well. And I want to say, what did you say the name of that actress was who plays the chief judge?
Teresa Gallagher.
She was perfect in this. This is how you've got to play Judge Dredd, I think, is committing to the role, playing it for real, but doing the whole thing just a little bit above. Judge Dredd, if you don't do this, I'm going to bust your ass back down to sanitation cop. I thought she was great.
She's Marana from Dalek Empire.
Yeah, she was less great in that, if I'm honest. But I thought she was really good in this. This reminded me of, I don't know if you ever remember the television series Jerry Anson's Space Precinct.
I love Space Precinct.
Well, there was a two-parter at the end of season 1, all about a church, a religious order, and one of the policemen had to sort of infiltrate the church, and then it looked as if they were being turned, and there was all scenes where it looked like he was going to kill his friends and all of this. It reminded me a lot of that, because all of that had a lot, religious people declaiming the church of the judge, and all. I really like this. I thought it was a solid plot. I thought it had good character beats in it. I like the relationship between Judge Dredd and the Australian judge. And I just thought you learned a bit more about his past. I thought there was lots going on in this. I'm surprised you didn't like it.
No, it just didn't hook me in. It just did. It started off all right with the peace conference and everything. That's the typical sort of Judge Dredd setting. There's something that he's got a mission of sorts. But just as it went on with all the sort of church stuff and the culty stuff, it just didn't interest me at all. It just got a bit I don't know, it's just boring. I just found this one boring.
I'll tell you, was one thing I really objected to, and that was the lackey who kept pooing and weeing himself.
Oh,
throughout the whole
it's
story.
always
Every single time you cut back to him, he's like, "Oh, oh no, I've done it again."
That's so weird.
He's like, which end is it this time? I was like, "Oh, what
I still
are we
appreciate
doing?"
it's still like this whole range is still amazing. Just the world that they build and the sort of characters that they bring up, and just the sound design of it all. Going back to 2000 AD, it's quite welcoming, isn't it? So it always feels like a nice change going back to these audios.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fully immersive world now, and I think they actually have more fun creating this world than they do in Doctor Who, because they
can just sort of do anything. You
be
can
a bit
really
sleazier,
you can just go
a bit
out,
sillier, a bit funnier. It's not just something going. Like that's Iranian market, you know.
No, this is like it's always a full city that they create here.
But I just thought this one just kept running throughout.
I think it was a bit too long as well.
And it kept unpeeling layers. So, you know, you learn about the history of the Judd, then you learn about the history of Judge Dredd, and then there was like a barrage of twists at the end. James Swallow, don't listen to Mark. I think you swallow like a good one.
Okay. God. Okay, well, let's go on to the next one then. We've got more to talk about the next one. War Crimes. So this was released in April 2004. As well as Toby Longworth, this also stars Caroline Burns Cook. And that's pretty much about it, because it is a two-hander.
Yeah.
This was written by David Bishop and, of course, directed by John Ainsworth. Now, this is very different.
I went into this with some trepidation. Do you know why?
Why?
Because this has got the reputation of being the best Judge Dredd audio that they made. So I went in thinking, oh, okay, can it possibly? Because we've done some really fun ones up until then. And what I came out writing was that might have been the tightest script I've ever heard from a Big Finish audio. Like, not a word is wasted in this.
Well, it's funny. We just said about creating a city. This literally is two characters in a room, and it's Judge Dredd being interrogated for his past crimes. And some of those are in the earlier audios, aren't they? They mentioned that some stuff that he's done. He's basically supposed to have committed genocide on like a city that they're at war with.
Most like long-running shows, DS9 did this and Babylon 5 did it as well. They have an episode where they sort of pick up all old plot threads, assemble them all into a puzzle, and they say, well, you're a traitor because look at all these things you've done across the series, and it don't make any sense. And this is sort of Judge Dredd's turn to have all of his actions questioned. But the start of this is one of the most chilling moments ever in an audio, where it's basically Judge Dredd having to make the decision to push a button and send a load of nuclear bombs to wipe out a city. And you hear them sort of debasing the choice. And then he says, well, it's war, get over it. And presses the button. And then you hear the bombs going off, and it goes on for ages. You hear the sort of the bomb taking off, then screaming through the sky. And then it just goes all silent. And suddenly... And then it cuts into the music, and I had absolute chills. It was like listening to bloody Hiroshima.
Well, we've got, what's her name? The character that's interrogating Judge Dredd is called Isaacs. So, I mean, she's pretty harsh. It's a proper interrogation. She's electrocuting him.
We don't know that she's
this
pretty.
Kind of...
It's an audio.
No, pretty harsh.
I know. I'm being funny.
I'm going to cut that out. She's electrocuting him and stuff.
Yeah. He's got these sort of implants in him, hasn't he? Which if you get shocked 16 times, you die, because no one's been shocked more than 16 times. I know, it sounds fun, doesn't it? I'm not sure about the bit where his bowels start opening and things
then I'm not sure. Then we're not really sure where it's going, because it's going on, and then you're sort of thinking, okay, so this is a two-hander. He's stuck in this room. What is going to be the twist here? What is going to be... there's got to be something else here.
There was tons
because
of twists.
He's like, I'm innocent. I didn't do this. And she's like, you did. And he's like, I've been cleared of this. And it goes on and on and on. And then she explains that, well, it's hinted at that she's from that city and he killed all her family and all that. So you're like, okay, so she's got in here and she's getting revenge. So it's like a revenge thing. And then there's another twist after that because I'm like, okay, that's
Well,
sort of obvious, isn't it?
First, shall we?
Okay.
Well, the bit about her being from the other city. So then she starts bringing in evidence,
like personal evidence of stuff.
And it's some of the most chilling scenes ever. I was just writing down what was going on.
It's like
down
she's
in a bunker, isn't it?
Yeah. So she forces Judge Dredd to like watch this video of the people that he bombed in the nuclear bunker, like the months after.
So the few people.
It's like a video diary of them like dying. Basically,
and you
hear it, and you keep going back to it, and he's more and more and more.
It's just one man, though, isn't it? I think that's Ian Brooker. It's just one man.
I think Helen Goldwyn's as a little girl somewhere in the background as well.
But it's so horrific because basically they're trying to create a society underground because they know they can't ever go up into the world again. But what they don't realise is that there's a leak and the radiation is getting in slowly, and they're all dying. No matter what they do, they're all dying. And his girlfriend falls pregnant and he knows that she's infected with radiation, and he says that one line where he goes, I dread the day when she gives birth. He knows that baby is going to be like a mutant or stillborn or something. I mean, this is totally different to any other Judge Dredd. This is like
the complete opposite to all those comedy Judge Dredds where, you know, it's like, hey, Dredd, blah, 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 you know.
But it really shows how far you can stretch the format, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think the comedy works brilliantly in those ones, and this worked terrific as a drama. And then it comes to the point where the baby is born and it is alive, but it's ill, and he has to kill it. It's really very, very horrible. And I didn't really enjoy listening to it, but I thought it gave the evidence that she's trying to mount against him. I didn't have sympathy with him anymore because he was basically, we kept cutting back to him and he kept going, look, it was war. You bombed a load of our cities. We bombed a load of yours. But then when you're hearing all this sort of personal, intimate evidence of people suffering in horrible ways, it's like when you watch the news, and you hear about, you know, the war in Gaza or wherever, and you hear about, hundreds of thousands of people have been dying, and you go, oh, that's really sad. But then you're forced to sit down and watch one family in their living room bombed to death, and and that's different, isn't it? The intimate look at it is different from the scale of the numbers. So suddenly I was starting to think, Judge Dredd, you're just an arsehole. Like, look what you've done, you know?
But then that's
I started to believe her.
But then that's his character. He's like, if it's written in the law, it has to happen. There's no, throughout this whole thing, he's like, that's his thing, isn't it? He is the law. He doesn't deviate ever from that. And, in that war, that was okay for him to do and press that button and do. So from his side of things, he doesn't take into any of that stuff. He doesn't have that within him.
He even says at one point, I've written the quote, he says that when you murder that many people, it becomes just an abstract concept. Like, it doesn't seem real. It's impossible to consider the individuals until you're confronted with it like this.
So you've got that, and you sort of know that's coming. It's sort of obvious. And I was like, is this the only thing? Okay, it turns out she was from that city. But then there's twist number 2, isn't there?
Yeah. Go on.
Which I can't remember exactly what it was. Some kind of like, it's like, you explain what it is. It's an undercover thing, isn't
it? So then they start introducing the idea that, hang on. Yeah, they start to introduce the idea that the Special Judicious Squad, I can't say it. They start to introduce the idea that the Special Judicial Squad are testing out their new torture techniques, and there's a sleeper agent in the ranks hidden from the side judges, and they don't know who the sleeper agent is. Now, suddenly it's not about the fact that Judge Dredd pressed the button and bombed the city. It's that they think he's the sleeper agent working for the other side. And so the whole second half is about her basically trying to get him to admit, yes, I haven't been a judge all this time. I have been working for the other side.
Which is quite a welcome change after like the intense first half, because I don't think you could sustain that for half an hour.
No.
Or over half an hour. I think it did need that extra change. So I did welcome it when suddenly it was like, oh, actually, it could be this. And she's interrogating for this reason now.
And suddenly her techniques get even worse because she drags in a character called Vienna. Not that one. Although we could get our hopes up for a second that she was going to be like, oh, hey, yeah. Judge!
So Vienna is Judge Dredd's brother's daughter, right?
Yeah.
And she's been put up for adoption or something, because Judge Dredd arrested the mother when she was pregnant and put her in there, and she died in prison. Yeah. So then there's all of that sort of guilt
more
put
sort
on
of
him
personal
as well,
history about
personal
Judge
stuff
Dredd,
brought
which
out.
is really great.
But throughout this, he's not budging. He's getting the electric shots. He's pissing himself.
He's vomiting
and all that. He is just standing strong throughout this whole thing. That's the little girl. That's Helen Goldwyn. Vienna.
And then what transpires in the end is obviously the whole thing was a massive smoke screen. So we've gone through all these I'm peeling like an onion, this plot. And the whole thing from the start was never about Judge Dredd. He placed himself in the cell. It was all about revealing that Isaacs was the sleeper agent, and we learn that Nikolai, the guy from the flashbacks, after the bomb went off down in the bunker, that was her brother, and she did want revenge, so she volunteered for the sleeper program because she wanted her revenge. So the whole thing had been a honey trap for her.
Yeah, it's very cleverly plotted, and I mean, we listened to this on a train journey, didn't we? And like the whole way through, it's like
it just flew by.
Yeah, it just really went by really well. I can see why this is a favourite.
What impressed me most was one of the things about the Judge Dredd audio is the immersive soundscapes, all stripped away in this very minimalist sound design and music, and the focus is on the two performances. And without, what's the woman's name again? Without Toby Longworth and
Caroline Burns-Cooks.
Caroline Burns-Cook, where are you? What a great performance she gave.
Well, she's in Sarah Jane.
Is she?
Let's have a look. See what she played in Sarah Jane. I mean, it's like a bit part.
I think it was her boss, wasn't it? Is it Claudia?
Oh, yeah, Claudia.
It's her boss, Claudia, yeah.
So she's Claudia in Sarah Jane.
What a waste. She only had a few scenes. Anything else?
Oh, God, she's in Shadow of the Scourge.
Who's she playing that?
Oh, God. What a career. She's Mary Hughes.
Oh, she's the one at the start. It's going to the
That's what she's done.
Lovely She goes to that one. Well, I've got to say, Longworth and what's her name again?
Caroline Burns-Cook. Don't forget her name.
Everyone remember that name. I thought they were I'm prone to hyperbole. Staggeringly good in this.
Very good. I mean,
held my attention for
okay, so this two-parter versus the Scherzo Paul McGann India Fisher two-parter, two-handers.
What what?
Well, they're the two-handers that we've had so far in Big Finish.
Well, we'll have loads to come in Companion Chronicles.
Oh no, that's different. This is a dramatic
which
two-hander.
Is the better of the two?
Well, yeah, up against the two. What are you going to say?
One is an abstract horror. And another one is like a political thriller. I'm not really sure you can compare the two. I think this is probably a better script, as in the way it's structured. But I think that is a more disturbing piece of audio.
Yeah,
they're
both great.
They're
both brilliant.
And
it just works on audio, doesn't it? A two-hander. A dramatic two-hander is just perfect for that medium.
Well, it just goes to show all this fucking once and future.
I know, you don't need the swell. You don't need that.
The last day,
all of that
bringing in 30 characters.
Oh, God, we're going back
down 12
that.
hours.
No. Let's not do this. Let's not do this.
It is a point worth making. That
you don't need all of that.
Focusing down on two people, a relationship, and a backstory that can be just as gripping.
If Big Finish has got budgets, two-handers, a decent script, that's all you need. Yeah. You don't need to throw everyone in to sell their box sets.
You need to start taking some money away from these people.
That's the thing. You need to make it
so they can
cheaper.
Only afford two people.
That's what you need.
These two-handers are great. The Companion Chronicles are wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
We could have had Jago and Lightfoot with just Jago and Lightfoot.
I know.
Abby and Tara from Key to Time. They could have gone about and just had those
graceless.
Two. What did I call it? Key to Time.
No,
you know what I mean.
That is graceless. That is two of them.
Yeah, but there's other people in it.
Yeah, I suppose.
What we're trying to say is this. Less is more.
Always.
And in the case of this particular episode, less is definitely more.
Absolutely.
I thought this was absolutely riveting.
Yeah, I did like this one.
I think this probably is the best one.
So far, I think, I don't know,
I
I have like some of those comedy ones, where it was on the game show and stuff, but they are different types of stories, but it's up there.
It's certainly the most gripping of the.
But I would choose to get a comedy one over this. I mean, it's quite intense listening. I mean,
it's
you
very
wouldn't want to listen
disturbing.
to it again and again for fun, necessarily, would you?
Well, no. Who listens to people suffering from nuclear fallout for fun?
That's what I'm saying. I love Protect and Survive, though, from so actually me, probably. I do love that one. I do love a nuclear war story.
You remember in Greece too, when the man
survivors.
pretends they're having nucleoid war and sings, "Let's do it for our country." Yeah? I'll do that for you then.
Okay.
If you're that desperate for nuclear war. Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Move us on, quick.
Okay, the next one we're doing, For King and Country.
Oh boy, here we
go. Released in June 2004. This one features Helen Goldwyn and Jeremy James.
They turn up a lot in Judge Dredd.
And this was written by Kevin Scott.
Yeah, so normally with Mark Wright, he does the Project Twilight, what they call the Forge story.
Yeah,
you know?
they're known for that, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, and didn't he create RMM? Oh no, that's Ian McLaughlin.
No, yeah.
What did he do? Oh no, they did Church and the Crown, didn't
Yes.
they? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is back to the
This is more
comedy
your cup of tea than mine.
style. So, I mean, it starts off with this whole thing about the Queen. It's not
Yeah, but
Queen
it ain't the
Elizabeth or
Queen.
whatever. Because I thought it was like Queen Elizabeth, and they've got like cyborg servants and stuff. So they're in Brit City, the British version of Mega
quite
City,
a bit, aren't we? Mega City's been shoved off.
So they're basically blown up. The Queen is blown up by an assassin.
But I've got to say, that is a 5-minute sequence. Okay, imagine, Mags from Greatest Show in the Galaxy, the way she played the Queen in Voyage in the Dam. Thank you, Doctor. It's very like that.
Can I just say, so Helen Goldwyn has multiple roles. So she's the Queen at the beginning of this. She plays, what's her name? Hold on.
She plays Britney Spears.
No, she plays Brightly Shines, the pop star.
Brightly Shine.
Britney Spears. So she's a proper main role. And can we just say Helen Goldwyn, right?
Yeah.
We love her.
Oh, we love her.
And it's coming up to Christmas, so the campaign starts now. Helen Goldwyn's Christmas song
One
to
woman
number
show.
1, please. What is it? I'm your Christmas present. I'm your girl for Christmas. So Google, everybody, Helen Goldwyn's Christmas song. Get it on the iTunes. Get it on the the downloads, and let's get that to number 1, shall we, everyone?
And we want to get her one-woman show to the O2 Arena.
Oh my God, yeah. And also on YouTube, search for clips of Helen Goldwyn's one-woman show. You'll not be disappointed. She's there in a pub, in like a little pub with a room full of people, and she's doing loads of songs like "Spag me in the kitchen and get my buns out," and all that kind of stuff. She's hilarious.
You might think we're taking the piss right now.
I know, we have said
And
this
we are
before.
a little bit.
We've mentioned this before many times.
Me, I love Helen Goldwyn.
She's
I love
brilliant.
her. And I just think her voice stretches in so many directions in these audios.
She's perfect.
And she's a fabulous director now.
She is. She's gone up in the world.
She directed
since
that one on
this.
Gallifrey with Tegan.
Oh,
It was wonderful. At a girl. Oh my God. No, she's a talent. That's all I'm saying. She's a talent while you're being facetious over there. Helen, I love you. You're always welcome to Eastbourne for a fish supper with Liz Bowman. Okay, back on with the show.
Anyway, so it's a very silly opening, and so what's happened is,
Very
I mean, I
silly.
didn't know where this was going because when I saw like this picture of Henry VIII on the front and stuff, I thought we were going to go back to wasn't there like robot museums and stuff of all these different, in the one with Nicola Bryant directed, wasn't that the one where it was all like waxworks and it was like a theme park, wasn't it, of like olden times like that, and it was all silly. I thought we were going back to that. Anyway,
I was getting sort of Red Dwarf Meltdown vibes, when they went to Waxworld.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So anyway, we're not really sure where this is going, and then we have Brightly Shines, the pop star.
What was her phrase again when she talked about her fans? Every time
she's like,
about her fans.
My fans, and I love my fans.
Is that what
Every
Britney Spears says every time?
No, but I mean, it's just a bit of a heightened version, isn't it? Anyway, so she's going round. She's got a new album single out. Judge Dredd is trying to arrest her because she's causing a commotion.
And then he realises, to his horror,
she's got like the key to Brit City, so the higher judges can let her do whatever she wants
because her son.
Because so basically, she's had an affair apparently with the king before he got blown up, and so her son is now heir to the throne.
And his name is Justin.
Justin, yeah.
Timberlake. No, just Justin. But Jeremy James, bless you, your Texan Justin Timberlake accent was something else.
So he's playing this sort of teenager that's like, what's going on? And she's like, oh my God, I'm royalty now, and all this kind of stuff. So you've got that sort of obnoxious character Helen Goldman plays perfectly. And then I'm like, where is this going?
Yeah,
what is going to happen
Halfway
here?
through, I was like, and I actually wrote, I was getting really frustrated because I was like, what is the point of this? It keeps trying to make a point about the royals, about celebrities. And then at the end of the story, it did make its point. I don't think it made it well. But basically, the suggestion was that it's another one of those ones with a big twist at the end where the person behind all of it is not who you think it's going to be. Shall I ruin it? It's the butler. The robot butler is behind all of this because he's basically made a mint out of he had the Queen murdered and then sold a ton of royal merchandise and made it because he's not on a very good butler's salary, apparently.
Yeah.
And then when Brightly Spears, or whatever her name is, came in with the son, he's like, my God, I can sell loads of merchandise. I'm gonna get them in. Get him as the King of England, and then I'm going to murder him and sell a load more merchandise. Anyways, but what he said was, because he was trying to make money out of the royal family, I think the point of the story was, he says that the royal family aren't as popular as they used to be. Celebrities like Brightly Spears, or whatever her name is.
Brightly Shines.
Brightly Shines are more popular. So replacing the royal family with a celebrity means that you've got the best of both worlds there and you can make a lot of money. And I think there is a germ of an idea there. But my problem is all of this is such a pastiche.
It really is,
so
but
comical.
I loved it. I thought it was funny.
It's like a pantomime though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're supposed to be.
But
we've had this before.
Didn't you find the bit at the end where Justin, who turns out to be a clone, because he's in fact not the result of an illegitimate affair. What he is a clone grown out of one of the king's old toenails that Brightly Spears bought off Space eBay or whatever. I mean, this is just absurd, right? So he's grown out of a toenail. He sacrifices himself to save Judge Dredd, and then they're trying to do this like really touching moment in the middle of this pantomime, and I'm like, tonally, this is all over the place.
No, I loved it, and you've got Henry VIII on the front because it's like a robot version of him. It captures the prince basically. I just thought it was fun. It entertained me it's over an hour actually. It's an hour and 15 nearly.
I thought the second half was better than the first half.
So I just loved hearing Helen Goldman because you can tell it's her doing all the different. If there's a background scream or something, it's Helen Goldman. All the female voices basically in this is Helen Goldman doing her utmost.
I told you, you can stretch her any way you want. She is a talent.
So they must have had so much fun doing this.
Can I just say, because you're a bit of a royalist, aren't you? Like, you support the royal family for some reason. And in the first scene alone, there's the following digs at the royal family. You ready? So Philip being a racist, because apparently the king is always saying terribly racist things in Brexit and causing diplomatic nightmares. That serving the Duchess of York is considered a punishment, and that the son of the heir is a inbred drooling cretin. Well, that's not very nice about the royal family, is it?
Funny though, isn't it? It's
like,
supposed to be.
Oh yeah, but I was like, there's satire, and then there's, laying it thick in the first scene.
No, I just thought this was really good fun.
What did you think about the Terry and June Appreciation Society being blamed for the...
Well, and this is where we get the British news announcer. It's not the BBC, it's the B something else something, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't.
So that's what they're trying to do. So it's Brit. That's why it's all in Brit City. But we've missed an opportunity for Brit City. We could have had Claire Buckfield back. Isn't that where she went to live?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Claire Buckfield did like 2 Judge Dredd audios and was
where did you go,
I'm not
Claire
doing
Buckfield?
This anymore. Maybe she was like, I don't want to do these anymore.
No.
That's really weird that she never came back.
She got a starring role in The One Doctor, didn't she? She said, this is how good the scripts can be. I'm not going back to that. Can I ask you, no, you made me do a comparison between two things. So Helen Goldwyn's 2 American performances to date, Brightly Spears and Brightly who?
Brightly Shines.
Brightly Shines or Becky Lee Kowalski
Kowalski
from Minuet in Hell. So obviously one's Britney Spears and one's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Like here she does her southern voice, Britney voice in this. I think she's much better in this. I can't stand her in Minuet from Hell. I'm sorry, Helen Goldwyn.
Well, I think the trouble is in Minuet in Hell that's trying to be a serious performance.
Yeah, but this is just an impression of
she's so horrible in this.
Like, oh, my fans. I love my fans. I love it when they get those catchphrases in.
I did think this was quite prescient, though, because you remember when the Queen died and Charles came to the throne, and you and me went to London a couple of times. There was bloody merchandise everywhere, wasn't there? And they were commenting on that in this, going, official merchandise for the people. They demand it.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend this as your first ever Judge Dredd to listen to. I think it's a bit out there. But if you've done a few of the other... I mean, if you've done War Crimes, if you're doing this in order and you've had all that heavy subject matter, this is a perfect antidote to it. Just a really light, fun one. And this is one that I would listen to again and again because it's just fun, and it's an easy listen. That's what I like about it. And it's just all those one-liners. They're just funny, aren't they?
Well, I sort of came out of this one
with a little bit of a murder mystery in there as well. That's what you want,
with the big question hanging over my head, and I know you're just going to say, oh, it's just fun, so just go with it, is how many of these pastiches can you do? And they've done quite a few now, reality TV, religion... they've mocked a lot of different subjects and done them well. How many of these can you do before you have to start having an arc or something to keep people coming back? Because with this one, I was going, oh, okay, we're doing this again, and it's not quite as good as the last one.
Wow, we're coming to the end of the range, so there's your answer.
That's what I'm saying. So did they come to the same conclusion of like, well, do you know what? We've sort of done everything we want to do. Because I think there's huge potential. But
I don't know, unless you started like a war or something and it was an ongoing...
Oh, that sounds amazing. Maybe that's in
battle
Chronicles.
Kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. You always have to have... Well, it's like the same as any other thing. Murder mystery of the week, isn't it? But it's all in a different type of setting. Sometimes it's a bit serious. Sometimes you've got silly characters. It's always like that, isn't it? It's what is Judge Dredd going to solve this week?
And you think you could just keep making those
And I think you can keep doing
stories.
that. Yeah, if you've got such diverse settings as nuclear war, interrogation, and Britney Spears.
Odd royal
You can
family.
do that. And the reality TV stuff. I mean, that's what we liked about it, is it started off quite serious with Judge Dredd and He's the Law and all this serious stuff, but then it's putting that serious character of Judge Dredd in the stupid situation.
So
that's what it does well. Put in Judge Dredd, who's really serious, like up against Britney Spears, and it's like, is she going to sing again? All that kind of stuff.
What's so funny is he doesn't alter his performance a jot.
No, he doesn't.
And yet he works both
great.
in drama and in comedy.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a great line at the end of this where she goes, "Dredd, what the hell are you doing?" And he just goes, "I'm just moving the action along." He's great. Yeah, I don't think this was terrible. Don't get me wrong. And I do think there was a lot of people working hard on this last one. I just think now I've seen the sort of the intense story of the second one. I would like to see a bit more of that.
We'll see what happens in the next three.
Well, we haven't done the one where he plays every role yet. It's called Solo.
I know.
Very
that's what
meta.
we need to see. Yeah. Yeah. So I think they can still do inventive stuff.
I'm coming away from Judge Dredd because now we've only got 3 left to go. I'm coming away from Judge Dredd thinking this has rocketed to the very top, maybe the top 3, I think, of all the spin-offs of Big Finish I've ever done.
Ever?
Yeah, ever. Because I think there are a lot of interesting flawed spin-offs that they do elsewhere. But this has got an identity. It's
a shame it's not available for everyone to listen to. Sorry, host.
It's got a brilliant lead in Toby Longworth. And I think it's all of those people, John Ainsworth, Nicholas Briggs, all is at their sort of creative peak. I hate to say it's all downhill from here.
I feel like they're doing the other Rangers and this is like, we can relax and have some fun.
Yeah. But sometimes when people relax, they do their best work.
Yeah.
Yeah, really impressive.
Bring back Judge Dredd.
Bring back Judge Dredd.
Starring Helen Goldwyn.
Well, I've not got much more to say than that, really.
Yes. Great.
Just another exciting batch.
Well, shall I tell you where we're going to go next?
Oh, please tell me we're doing more Judge Dredds.
Not yet.
Oh, boo.
So we are back to...
The only thing you could possibly say that would excite me is we're back to the main range.
We're back to the Doctor Who main range.
Yeah.
And we are going to be doing The Axes of Insanity.
You love that one, don't you?
Arrangements for War.
I love that one.
And The Harvest.
I don't really remember too much about that one, apart from Hex joining.
No, they're really great.
McShane! Oh my god! Oh my
no.
god! He sort of does that quite a lot, you know?
I love Axis of Insanity, everyone, so
When's the
can't
last
wait for
time
that
we
one.
had a Sylvester McCoy and Ace story? Is it The Rapture?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, well, we've only seen her do Lieutenant Duck in Zagreus. Now she's finally back in the main race
McShane.
as new older A.
Yes.
Let's see if she's as good as the one from the New Adventures.
Well, there we go. Look forward to that very
You
soon.
can't wait. The only thing I can absolutely guarantee is that those Doctor Who stories will not be as good as these Judge Dredd ones.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, in the meantime, everyone, don't forget
To
finish
finish
big.
do, do, do.